whether you set New Year's resolutions or not, you would have to agree that the new year has a feeling of liberation attached to it. So as you're closing out 2024, everyone's kind of has this thank God that's over kind of vibe, and you're excited to start the new year because you have all these things that you wanted to achieve that you didn't get to the year before. So you feel so pumped for what you're going to be able to do now. You've got a full 12 months to do it. How good is this? All the time in the world, and nothing's going to stop you. But as that kind of motivation and inspiration to achieve your goals for 2025 kind of starts to fade, when you go back to work or children start going back to school, whatever it is, as that fades and you get back into your daily routines of 2024, there's this underlying fear that creeps in. And that fear is you might start wondering if your dreams are just wishful thinking, you know, because life kind of always gets in the way, like it has many, many times before. Or you might notice that you have these self sabotaging patterns that come up, and or just old habits that you don't want to, you thought you were done with, but then boom, there they are, And so that spark of hope, like as you kind of start to feel all of these interruptions and disruptions that derail your goals and your dreams for yourself, that spark of hope gets smaller and smaller. So you might have even tried to be on the front foot with a lot of this stuff, your subconscious beliefs, your programming that you've got going on. And you might have tried to clear all of that to give yourself a clean slate to go after what you want to. But you can still feel like in some way that there's this invisible barrier that's in your way, and it's just derailing all of your success, and you can't pinpoint what it is, and it can feel a little bit like some sort of cosmic conspiracy in a lot of ways, like what is going on? And things can come to your mind like maybe I'm not cut out for this. And all these doubts and fears will come up as a result of that. And as the year progresses, it doesn't take long before you start to kind of feel like you're broken. Like this is never going to happen. You don't know what's wrong, you don't know what to fix about yourself, and you start to wonder, like, if you have what it takes to set out to achieve what you wanted to do. Maybe you're not cut out for it. Maybe it's genetic. Maybe there's something else. Maybe you don't have the resources available to get you the outcomes that you want. You can start finding all of the reasons why that's the case. So everyone tries to make sense of challenges in their life and how they face them, and how they can go about achieving their goals anyway. Especially if you have this history of being successful in your life, and you know that you've achieved amazing things, like just wildly outrageous goals before, and these have panned out in the most serendipitous ways. If you know that you've done that, if this is your history, you know that you're capable of anything. But sometimes there can be this goal that just feels unattainable for absolutely no reason. So, one of the things I love about goal getters is their commitment to improve their inner landscape to relentlessly achieve their goals across any area of their life. So, people who aspire to be, do, achieve, have, and live the way that they want to do it a lot easier. I love this trait. Love it. So today I want to help you set yourself up to manifest unstoppable success in 2025 and way beyond that as well. So I want to drop a few truth bombs about inner work that no one tells you. And I'm not saying to avoid inner work. It absolutely has a place. And I do a lot of inner work with my clients. But we're uncovering why limiting beliefs, some other practices, otherworldly practices like resolving karma, and even past life regression or healing might actually be holding you back, and what you can do instead to live life on your terms, because that's what it's really about. Beyond 2025, you still want to live on your terms, and so you should. So that's what we're going to cover today. So, if you're meeting me for the first time today, my name is Sharon Atkinson. I'm a life coach, a business coach. I do a lot of things, I have a lot of different hats. And at the age of 17, I first noticed that I could think about something and then it would happen. And I use this superpower of mine to achieve a lot of brilliant things in my career, like pay rises, bonuses, promotions, even going from managing a retail store in my 20s to managing the state and an advertising agency for below the line advertising. And then moving on from that into a business banker role at one of the majors. So, like, wildly outrageous achievements for myself. Changing industries like a pro, you know, who does that? And it wasn't until my late 20s when I actually realized that my superpowers had a name. These superpowers were called manifestation. And I learnt this at the gym actually, when I was introduced to The Secret and the law of attraction and all of that by a girl I went to school with who was taking the spin class. She was telling me about it. So, like, at first, that was so exciting. It's like, wow, this has a name, you know? And there was this whole new world of information available to me. And I was like, wow, you know what? Now I'm really unstoppable. I've got all of these new tools and techniques. Manifestation, let's go. But it didn't really happen. That's not what happened at all. So some things worked, yeah, for sure. But most of the time, none of the techniques or, the 11 laws and everything else about manifestation, none of it actually made any difference. So I just kept doing my own thing because it worked and I knew how I could do that. And so that's what I did. And then I accidentally manifested my husband when I was writing my second book. Like, I did not know that I could manifest in this way, but I did. And we paid off our house in just over 3 years, which is fantastic. Life was pretty great. Very, very happy with my way of manifestation, deliberate creation, you name it. And then I went through a horrendous experience. Um, and I knew that I did not consciously manifest this. I was very aware of how I was thinking and feeling about everything because deliberate creation, manifestation, whatever you want to call it, was such a huge part of my life. There was no way in the world that I had manifested a legal dispute. No way in the world. So, this is when I started diving into subconscious programming and limiting beliefs. And I worked on myself relentlessly every day, just every day until this was fully resolved. And I resolved litigation within 3 months. So happy days. So I had finally tapped into a way to manifest outcomes that I wanted consistently, no matter what. And I did. And in 2020, I started an energy healing business to see if I could do this work for other people. And, despite everything that was happening in the world and in Melbourne, it was just insane. I turned over 6 figures in my business that year, in a business that could not trade in person for 7 months of that year. And I worked with my husband as well to take his business from 6 to 7 figures in the world's most locked down city. Anything was possible for me, and it still is. I'll tell you stories happened over the weekend. But I've explored so many numerous techniques and methodologies to achieve my goals with speed. Like, I'm a goal oriented person, and I don't set New Year's resolutions because my life, my whole life, is like a perpetual goal setting document. I'm just wired this way, and I want to achieve something and I want to achieve it quickly. So this is how I work with myself. And so I'm going to drop some truth bombs today, and I really hope that you're going to start getting different results for yourself as a result of listening to this as well. So, like I said, I'm a life coach, I'm a business coach, I'm a metaphysical maverick, and I'm also an abundance alchemist. And the way I coach is a form of empowerment. So the way I see it is, if I do my job properly, you'll be empowered to command what is happening in your life, no matter what is going on in the world. And then you can just retire me as your coach. You don't need me anymore. you set yourself up, you understand how things work, and off you go so you can go and live your life, because that's what it's really about. You go live your life, I'm going to live my life. If I can help you live a better life, wonderful. Let's team up and do that together. So that's what I do. And if you love this episode today and you want to 100 times your success, but you don't want to learn any more techniques, you don't want to do a fuck ton of inner work, I get it. I don't want to either. So if you want to do that though, you just want to amplify how successful you can actually be. There's a 100 times your success manifesto that you can download, and there's a link for that in the description box. And I actually put this together for this particular episode of Unmasking the Magic. And this is for people, like, if you're serious about really creating a life that you love, then you're going to need this, because this is going to help you give you some new ideas and different perspectives on things as well, and on inner work after listening to this episode. So the link is in the description box. Go and click that and get your free copy. Welcome to Unmasking the Magic, where the mystical meets the practical and fuels your success. I'm your host, Sharon Atkinson, and I'll be your metaphysical maverick on this journey, where every week we'll pull back the curtain to reveal how concepts such as intuition, manifestation, and the quantum field, and pretty much everything else otherworldly, can help empower you to reach new levels of success, meaning and fulfillment in business, career, and life. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and empowered, and let's unmask the magic together. Limiting beliefs. When it comes to these bad boys, did you know that your beliefs are only limiting when they interfere or conflict with the desired outcome that you want to see for yourself? Did you know that? Because until these beliefs stop and block you dead in your tracks, they are very, very supportive. They help to protect you, they help to streamline making decisions and manifest the basics of your life on autopilot. That's their job, to make your life easy. So when you decide you want more for yourself, these beliefs that you've had for a very long time can start to contradict with that. And the old way of seeing things that you've outgrown is when these beliefs become limiting for you. But until then, they support the view you have of the world and who you are within it. That's their job. So when you're manifesting, you're going after these big goals that you have, you can have limiting beliefs that stop and block your manifestations deep within your subconscious mind that you have absolutely no awareness of. It's possible that you share some common limiting beliefs, like about money, health, relationships, for example, but the context that you've applied to these can be very, very different. So I'm going to give you an example. I shared a common belief, that you have to work hard to have nice things and to have a lot of money. That's a common belief that I had. It's that old trading time for money kind of paradigm. You've got to work really hard if you want all this stuff. Like, that's the common belief that I had. However, I had also applied this belief to mean that I cannot receive money that I did not work for. If I did not earn it, I could not have it. That's my idea of receiving money in general for no reason. Just felt so wrong. Like, I can't get this for no reason. I haven't done anything. I felt like I was doing something naughty. It's against this imaginary money receiving rules that I had made up for myself. I made this crap up, but your perspective is going to be different too. So our perspectives about any limiting belief can be so unique based on your own experiences in life. And I grew up in a working class family in the western suburbs of Melbourne, and I grew up with other messaging too, that money doesn't grow on trees. And I don't know about you, but when I heard this as a kid, I thought it was a stupid thing to say. And I remember looking at my mum and I was confused when she said this to me. And I said to her, I never said money grew on trees. That's a stupid thing to say. Like, who told you that? So I grew up with this messaging, but I didn't let this perspective in. I didn't take on my mum's perspective of that because I thought it was stupid, you know. So you can grow up with hearing a whole bunch of stuff in your house and messaging about, things like money doesn't grow on trees, but it doesn't mean that you've even internalized it. Just because you heard it doesn't mean it's relevant to you. So it's no way an indication that that's a block for you in any way, shape, or form. That money growing on trees concept, non-issue for me. It's ridiculous in my mind, and I dismissed it instantly as a child. So there's a danger though, and this is what I really want to bring to your awareness. There's a danger of clearing these common beliefs as well, because clearing the blocks, the generic limiting beliefs that do not exist for you, brings the energy of those concepts into your perspective in your present day life. So you shift your entire focus by hearing these generic limiting beliefs. You shift your entire focus onto the things like lack of money because it doesn't grow on trees. And you activate this as a barrier for yourself and you start manifesting lack instead of abundance just because your perspective has changed. So the more you go digging around for potential generic limiting beliefs that are interfering with your ability to succeed and create a life that you love, the more you activate feelings that are in conflict with what you really want your life to be like. You're creating your own blocks and they might hang around for a day. But if you work on, for example, money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work really hard to have nice things in your life, and then you move on to, I don't know, giving and receiving, and you do this work, this generic work for 6 months, you're in a state of lack for 6 months, because your focus is on lack and all of these things that have nothing to do with you. So this is why when I do this type of work with my clients, I do belief clearing. I do a lot of subconscious exploration and mindset repatterning on a one-on-one basis. And there's a very specific reason for this. It's because there are just too many variables in everyone's perspective to take a uniform approach with this stuff. And I want my clients to get results quickly. I like fast results. I want them to experience that as well. I don't want them to feel stuck 1 month after working with me. I want them to get an outcome because that's what they want. Because that's how I roll too. So not all of the blocks in your subconscious are beliefs either. So you can have, and no one talks about this stuff, but you need to know. So more than 80% of your core belief system was created before the age of 7. I think it's actually more like 90% of your core belief system, like foundational beliefs about who you are and how you show up in the world and how you go about a whole bunch of stuff, was created before the age of 7. But for a number of years, your understanding of the world was non-verbal. So your reactions are more emotional, your decisions are more emotional than logical assumptions you made of the world. So a block that you have can just be a series of weird feelings about a particular situation you find yourself in. It's a weird emotional reaction that you're having. And these are linked to some foundational beliefs. And you can think of these as like themes. They're common themes that a lot of people have, and there's about 15 of them that I've been able to identify over the years. But these are the most challenging to shift because we can't articulate them. We can't articulate these weird feelings that we have about stuff. And the really interesting part is the actions we take are automatic as a result of these. You've got neural pathways set up that are so well established. They determine your behavior, your reactions, everything. based on these emotional triggers in your subconscious mind. So you've learned a certain way of doing something, it's hardwired in, it's keeping you safe, and you've kept doing it your entire life. It is unconscious sabotage because it no longer suits you at some stage. It's no longer in alignment with the goals that you want to go after for yourself. And it's not impossible to clear these. And you probably, in all honesty, you can't really clear like the foundational beliefs of who you really are because you probably, I don't know, I don't even know what will happen. Like you would stop having assumptions about who you are in the world and you stop having assumptions about what it means to be in a relationship with different types of people and interactions and all sorts of things. It would be very confusing, very disturbing. I wouldn't be surprised if you ended up in some sort of psychosis. But yeah, as I think we kind of go through this year, we're going to talk more about limiting beliefs and things because it's so fascinating. But once you clear them, that's when things really start to kind of change. And I think it's interesting too. I'm not actually clearing beliefs. I do a lot of subconscious exploration and belief clearing, but I'm not actually clearing beliefs. I'm actually clearing the reasons why you think things are true. And if you understand how, I'm going way off script now, but if you understand how your belief system is formed, you form an idea about something and then you collect evidence to support why that's true. So I'm just getting rid of the evidence for you. But it's that evidence that gives it strength. It's that evidence that gives it weight. And that's what I'm clearing. I'm not actually clearing the belief itself, clearing all the reasons why you believe that that is true, or you once did, or you once had this weird feeling, getting rid of all those reasons, right? So, not all the limiting beliefs, you don't need to clear all of them. You don't need to go through childhood and clear every single part of your childhood that's a limiting belief. You don't need to. You create beliefs all the time, they're not limited to childhood, for example. So you could have created beliefs that limit your ability to generate six figures in your business or get a six-figure salary. You know, you could have created a belief that stops your potential for doing that in your 20s. It has nothing to do with your childhood or whether money grows on trees or anything else. Just something that you bought into in your 20s. You know, so you're designed to create beliefs to streamline your life so that you don't need to make decisions about every detail throughout the day. Some of the processes, routines, and habits that you have, they're hardwired in for convenience. That's all. And it's wired in that way because you believe what you believe once upon a time. So your beliefs are helping you in all areas of your life on that basis. And they're only limiting if they stop you from achieving your dreams in some way, what you desire for your life, that big goal you want to go after. And it's your perspective on some of the common beliefs that is so unique. How are you even going to know what they are? You know, where do you want to start? So I think that's a really great question. If you're wondering that, like, well, it's great, Sharon, you know, like I know I've got limiting beliefs. I know I self-sabotage and all this other stuff. Um, and I have this unique perspective. It's not necessarily a generic limiting belief that's stopping me. It's very specific and unique to me. What do I do about that? Because I really want to achieve this big goal for myself, but I know that there is something at play here that I can't put my finger on. What do I do about that? That's an excellent question, you know? So you have to know what you want, you know? You have to know what you desire to achieve for yourself. You have to know what you want your life to be like, and you have to really define your goals, like define them out. And once you do that, anything that blocks you becomes very, very obvious. So, knowing what you desire allows you to identify your limiting beliefs, your thoughts and perspectives that are in conflict so that you can change your mind about them. So, I'm actually going to help you. I thought it'd be really useful if we do a little exercise. I'm going to help you figure out what your limiting beliefs are right now. So if you want to, you can pause the video, go and grab a pen and a piece of paper so you can capture all of the juicy pieces of information that are going to come up for you as we go through this. So it's really cool. So what I'd like you to do is just pretend that you and I are working together and I'm helping you with one of your current goals that you have for yourself. Maybe it's a New Year's resolution that you set to, whatever it is. Pick one goal and just pretend we're on your coaching call. You know, we're chatting over Zoom and you're sharing some of the great wins you've had so far, how wonderful you are, how easy things are becoming for you. Amazing, right? So, but there's still this one thing that you really want to have in your life more than anything, and it just feels so out of reach, and you're just starting, you know, maybe you're aiming too high, all these doubts coming to the surface. Like you've achieved heaps of things in your life, manifested great things in your life, but this one thing will not materialize for some reason. So I'm going to find out what that reason is. What is going on? So how this is going to work, I'm going to ask you a series of questions so you can discover why you're blocked around this particular goal that you have. And you can do a little bit of a self-diagnosis. You can figure this stuff out for yourself. Like, it's not rocket science, but you can figure this out for yourself. So you ready? Let's play. So as I ask you questions, I would love you to notice your initial reactions to things and what comes up for you within the first 3 seconds. And I don't want you to write down your answers. I'm going to ask you questions, but I don't want you to write down your answers. I want you to write down your reactions, thoughts, your emotional reactions to things that come up. And that information is going to be your reasons why. But the information that comes up within the first 3 seconds is your subconscious mind giving you answers, and you're going to use your intuition to access them. How cool is that? So that 3-second window is brilliant for seeing into your subconscious mind. And so with this process I'm going to take you through, just go with the flow. Don't overthink anything, because your logical mind has no business being involved in this process. And just allow yourself to help yourself. Okay? Let's go. So, what are you manifesting? What are you aiming for right now? What's your goal? And why do you want that? Notice your reactions. And what would be the best thing about having that? And the final question is, how likely do you really think it is to achieve this? Aha, gotcha. So if your reaction to that question is, well, not overly, because I need to do X, Y, and Z first, then pay attention to all of those X, Y, and Z reasons coming to the surface, because these are your blocks. That is where you're blocked, right? Write down all of your actions, you know, and your limitations and the things that are in the way of that are going to become very, very obvious to you. And once you have an idea of what's at play, like what the biggest scheme of things is, like if one of your reactions was, I've tried everything possible, like I've put in the work, I've done so much, I've tried everything to achieve this and nothing works. Or maybe it's something like, I can manifest the small stuff, but I can't manifest the big stuff. Like whatever your reactions are and how you feel about achieving your particular goal, they're your limiting beliefs. That's what's stopping you from externalizing this dream you have for yourself. That's the core of that for you. So write it all down, all right? And then what I'd like you to do is ask yourself, all these things that you wrote down, just ask yourself, how true are they? How true is it that nothing works? How true is it that you can't manifest the big stuff? How true is that? And I bet they're not true at all. So, just clear it. Change your limiting beliefs, change your ideas, change your thoughts, get them out of the way. And I actually discovered a German Swiss philosopher as I was watching a British detective series, and I came across this philosopher, and he's actually it's very useful. He has this quote that I really loved, and this is actually going to help you. I can't pronounce his name. It's Frederick something. I can't pronounce his surname. Nicht. I don't know. It's German Swiss. I apologize, Frederick. I don't think you're listening to this. You might have passed on by now. But so he argued that there is no truth. Truth is impossible because there are only perspectives and interpretations. So whichever interpretation prevails at a given time is a function of power and not truth. Power, not truth, is what derives your reality. So your power to stand in a belief based on your perspective and call it a truth is crucial to manifestation and to any goal that you want to achieve for yourself. It's your power to change your mind and create a new truth for yourself. You have that power. Truth is subjective. You can make anything be true. So with limitations that came up for you, ask yourself why you think there's any truth to these. Can you change your mind about this stuff? Can you change your mind about any of the obstacles that came up for you and see them from a different perspective? Big questions, I know. But these big questions are going to help you find answers for your life so that achieving your goals becomes a lot easier. And changing your mind about obstacles that are in the way for you increases how realistic it is for you to achieve these desires for your life. And what you're doing in this process, like as you go through that and you change your mind about things, you automatically increase the probability of your goals, your desires, your manifestations becoming likely. You automatically start increasing and amplifying your expectation of them. And then they become your reality. It's kind of like, voila. Now that I've increased the probability of this, because I don't have any of these beliefs anymore, changed my mind about all of this stuff, I use my power to change the truth about how I see things. Voila. Now you're experiencing what you actually desire for yourself. And you don't have to do a ton of inner work to achieve anything. You don't need to you only need to clear the limiting beliefs that are in the way of your goals, or change your mind about how you see things. Change your truth. That's your power. So I actually want to talk to you about, or tell you about a client of mine who experienced a breakthrough in a decade-long legal battle that he was having with a former business partner of his. And after one coaching session with me, this is why I want to talk about this, because it's really impactful. He had one session. And I want to talk about this because I want to highlight how unimportant knowing all of the specifics are. Right? So this particular client, he was living in Jordan. He had never done any belief clearing, never done any sort of alchemy work before, no idea about manifestation either. But he was so frustrated that litigation had gone on for so long and there was no obvious way for him to resolve it that he was willing to do anything. And he was referred to me by another client of mine. He's willing to do anything. And God bless him. he really committed to this whole process with me, and in our session, we spoke about the outcomes that he wanted to create for himself, how he wanted his life to be, what it would feel like for him, and what he would be able to do once this legal situation had been resolved. And I brought him into the energy of creation, and I cleared some of the energy blocks that are in the way of how he wanted his life to be. And he went away and then he implemented some, a few exercises and things that I gave to him to bring his vision to life. And I cannot tell you how excited I was when I got an email from him telling me that a third party had reached out to him. It was a mutual person who knew him and his former business partner. It reached out just out of the blue, very unexpected, and offered to mediate a resolution to this situation for him. So after one session, boom, a pathway opens up for him to resolve a decade-long legal dispute. And results like this happen all the time. Like, this is commonplace when I work with my clients. And because I get specific about what their dreams are, and we clear things that are in conflict with that. We're not talking about common, generic, limiting beliefs that, the majority of the population have, because who really cares? That's not relevant to you. And it's not necessarily what's in the way of you achieving a specific outcome that you want to see for yourself, And this particular client, he could probably have thousands of limiting beliefs and things, We all do. That's normal. But most of them don't need to be cleared for him to get a successful outcome. This is the cool part. Most of them don't even need to be cleared, And this is what I teach my clients to do for themselves as well, so that they have power and authority over their life to command their life, So you don't need to clear every block to achieve your dreams. You just have to focus on what you want directly and what's in conflict with that. That's all you need to focus on. And new pathways will open themselves up to you effortlessly if you decide to stand in that power that you already have. That's what power means. Karma. I actually want to talk about two different perspectives on karma. One as a punishing force for doing something wrong, and the other as like unresolved issues from past lives or family lineage. But I'm going to talk about why neither of these need to hold you back. So the first one, as this punishing force for doing something wrong, you do something wrong, it's coming back to bite you in the ass. That's bad karma. That's the first kind of concept. But there's a trap with this concept, right? So when someone does something wrong to you and you hope that karma pays them a visit, you're wishing bad karma upon them, kind of like a curse. When you do this, you're wishing it upon yourself at the same time, and you're actually creating this concept of karma for yourself. So it doesn't exist until you create it with the belief that karma is a bitch, and if something bad happens to someone who wronged you in the past, you probably think, good, like, that's karma, they had it coming. Every time you think this way, you're affirming the belief that karma exists and there is some sort of imaginary force that is going to punish you. And your belief about this creates your reality, which means you're effectively creating this self-punishing belief that if you do something wrong, that wrong deed is going to come back to haunt you at some stage. So it's this self-compounding belief. You've created the belief of karma, and every time you've seen this metaphysical force in action, you've reinforced the belief. You've got a lot of evidence that backs this up, that backs up karma. You might cut someone off in traffic and then someone does it to you straight away and you go, well, I suppose that's karma. I had that coming. I deserve that. You're deciding what things mean in your life all the time. You've created karma for yourself. And if you have done this a lot in your life. This is a really strong belief that you have, But the world is not a vindictive place unless you choose to make one. And if you choose to see an unlucky experience as bad karma that you had coming, you're going to continue to support this karma paradigm that you've created for your own life. So it's really your belief about karma that allows it to exist. So you can easily use your power to change your mind about how true this really is for you. And then you can live in this karma-free world and you change your perspective about it. Now, how amazing is that? Okay, so the other way that people describe karma is something that's unresolved, just like a trauma or a conflict, someone betrayed you, something's gone wrong at some point and they haven't been able to get over it either in this lifetime, a past life, or somewhere in your family lineage. And this is that concept of you having to pay for the sins of your ancestors going back 7 generations, that type of thing. So I want to talk about these a little bit separately. I want to talk about past lives, separate to family lineage karma, because the way that they affect you is a little bit different. So let's start with past life karma. If you don't think you have past lives, that's okay. You do. And you do because you're an energetic being. This is the biology of who you are. And energy is never destroyed, it is only transformed into something new. So you have past lives. But they don't necessarily influence you in any catastrophic way. You can feel a strong affiliation with people and places, and I don't know, like you could even watch this video and go, oh my God, I feel like I know Sharon. I just feel like we would have like the best conversation and we would be like lifelong friends. You might get that feeling from watching this and like, that's cool. That's highly possible. Maybe we were like siblings or something in a past life. Who knows? It's absolutely possible. But you can know things about certain places too, like especially if you're in a foreign city and you just kind of instinctively know your way around. I think we need to go down this street. And it pans out for you, which is so cool. That hasn't happened to me. I got very lost in Prague. I got very confused by all the bridges. There's definitely no past life connection with Prague for me. But let me know in comments, like if this has happened to you, like you just feel so comfortable and at home in a city that you've never been to before. I know lots of people that's happened to. I have yet to experience that, but yeah. It's that resonance that comes through and you feel it so deeply. But you will feel it happens in multiple ways, right? So you can have quirky habits too. Things that you do make absolutely no sense. You can have natural aptitude for things too that again make no logical sense. Like, why are you good at that? It makes no sense. You've never done that before. How did you pick that up and do that so effortlessly? Maybe it's baking bread or something. Who knows? Some of you might have even tried past life regression before. I did this once. I found that interesting, I suppose, and it helped me understand why. I like standing outside at night, just staring at the stars. Like, I love doing that. Just stare at the stars. It helped me understand why I like to do that. I could do that for hours. Um, but that's not playing a huge, significant role in my life. It's not impacting me in any way. It's like a quirky thing that I do. But there are other emotions and experiences from past lifetimes too. When I did this past life regression that I can't relate to. Like, I've not been in those situations before and no relevance to my life today, no relevance to my goals, completely different circumstances, so I left it at that. So they're useful to me. I see past lives as useful because they can help reveal some quirky talents or some quirky traits that you have. but they're not a source of problems for you to fix. And diving into past life karma is a little bit like entering this abyss. You can find an endless stream of traumatic experiences from your past lives if you go looking for them. And, I just don't understand why you would want to do that if you're not impacted by any of that stuff. Like some of these concepts are like things that your past lives might have been through are really horrendous. And you could introduce concepts like torture, things like disembowelment, all that kind of stuff into your awareness. And why would you want to do that if it has absolutely no relevance on your life? You know? And riddle me this, actually, because what relevance does the limiting beliefs and the heavy thoughts and emotions of a past life from, say, 300, 700 years ago, what relevance does that have for you in 2025? Not much, right? Because our way of living is so vastly different to our past lives, especially because we have this era of technology available to us that they didn't. So the chances are that the way that we are living is vastly different to theirs. And we're not impacted by the same influences. We don't experience the same traumas as them. And like your past lives aren't filled with problems that you need to fix, but they can be like a source of, accessing new skills and talents. See it that way. See that you have like this bank of resources available to you that help you do things like play the piano or, um, I don't know, make some like amazing sushi or something for yourself. Maybe that's this quirky talent that makes no sense but you're really good at it. Like for me, I feel really drawn to France. And when I was in high school, I actually found learning French very easy. And I was highly commended by an organization that was associated with a French consulate for some state languages exam that I took that I didn't study for. And, I love French cooking and I love how complex that is, how the complexity of this provincial cooking. I find it so like fascinating. I love it. Like I really love doing it. No idea why, but so fiddly, like some of their recipes. Or some of them you make over a course of like 3 or 4 days. But I find that so fascinating. Anyway, um, but even though that's the case for me, like I'm not moving to France because of any of that stuff. I just like it. And I don't do it every day, but sometimes, I might be in the mood to um, make rillets, or I might want to make some fig infused balsamic vinegar or something, or raspberry balsamic vinegar. There'll be something that for some reason I feel inspired to do. And it's complex, long processes involved in all this sort of stuff. But you'll notice in your own life that you have these influences that are often really subtle that come through. They will show up from time to time. And you'll be aware of them, like, I don't know why I like doing this. This is so weird, makes no sense. Especially for me, I work with this French food thing. Like, my family, like heritage, my mum's family's Polish, Russian, Czech, and my dad's family is Scottish, English, Welsh. So I'm like the United Nations. There is no French influence in the mix at all in my United Nations going on over here. But it's just some of those things that comes through for me. So you'll be aware of them. They could be positive like that, or they could be negative too. But either way, they're not dominant enough to be an obstacle in your life or to influence your life in any kind of significant direction. And what is significant enough, though, is you knowing what you want for your life. And you get to invent what you want your life to look like. And those types of decisions that you make for yourself, those choices, they dominate and override absolutely everything else. Whatever's in your awareness overrides everything else. Some might want to feel like making, I don't know, coq au vin for dinner or something. But if I don't have the time because I've got priorities for the day that don't line up with that, then, who cares about coq au vin? I've got other priorities for the day. So, but you'll feel that. You'll notice that throughout your life. It'll show up at different times. Maybe you become a parent for the first time and you have a unique ability for putting your child to sleep. Who knows? Could be anything. But you don't need to dive into those feelings. You don't need to dive into the traumas and things of those lifetimes. You can be aware of them. If they're a barrier to some success for yourself, then you can clear it. But don't go looking for crap to clear because you really don't know what you're walking into. And you have eons of lifetimes. You don't have 2 or 3. You have eons and eons and eons and eons of lifetimes. So, if you do this type of work, if you believe in clearing past life trauma, where exactly do you want to start unraveling this? Because it is so intricate. You are such a complex individual. And just think about your life so far, the limiting beliefs you have, the negative thoughts you have, the heavy emotions you have in this lifetime. That is enough for you to deal with. You don't need to go and resolve the same volume of trauma, of doubt, fear, whatever it is. You don't need to resolve any of that for your past lives. If something is such a strong influence in your life and you want to clear it and it's related to a past life, then do it. If it's impacting you so heavily, then absolutely go and do it. But you don't have to clear past life trauma at all. To achieve what you want in this lifetime, you do not have to clear past life trauma. If you want to, and I've done a lot of past life clearings and things for myself, but for other reasons, this is soul work. This is much, much deeper, and this is beneficial on a completely other level of who you are. So you are made of light, and you can clear really, really deep layers of trauma from your field of light that get held in there like concrete. They're cemented in there at this energetic level. Yes. So if you start clearing past life trauma, past life karma from your energy field, you'll be able to hold more light, and this light will become of a higher frequency at the foundation of who you are, which is soul evolution work. And this is ascension work. And, there are benefits in the real world of doing this. Like if you have a strong foundation of light, drama can bounce off you like it's no big deal. That's soul work, though, and has absolutely nothing to do with you achieving your goals. There you go. I said it. You don't need to do any of that soul level work to have a wonderful life in this lifetime, but you can do it if you want to. And I first started doing that type of work because I did not want to come back. Like, this lifetime has been pretty challenging for me. I'm not doing it again. Like, I'm out. I want to check out of this, reincarnation cycle. So that's why I started doing this work. But, now that I've got a secret or two up my sleeve, it's actually kind of cool. Like, let's come back and do this again. No problem. But I want to set some caveats around that for myself when I come back again. I can remember this stuff a lot faster. Let's see how that plays out. So, but one thing has nothing to do with anything else. If you focus on what you want to experience in your life, what you want to manifest, and what you want your life to be like, it's going to be obvious if there's anything blocking you. Like you've just done an exercise that will bring up your blocks, and none of them are going to be related to a past life. They could be. It could be that, there was poverty consciousness 300 years ago or 1,000 years ago. There was something else going on. But you know what? That's not a strong enough influence in your life. Your power lies in creating your life now. Past life karma only matters if it's actively blocking your goals. And chances are it's not. So, you know what? Just focus on what you want to achieve for yourself to live your best life today and have a good time. So, let's talk about ancestral karma and family lineage because I think this one is absolutely going to blow your mind, right? And the reason I say that is because it's so complex and the way our bodies work are so amazingly complex as well. But trauma responses and unresolved ancestral karma is passed on generation to generation, information stored in your chromosomes. And it's not in your DNA. Forget about your DNA. DNA is like a filing system. Your DNA is not making decisions about which programs to run. Those instructions are coming from elsewhere in your cell. And so I first wondered about genetics when I was diagnosed with a genetic blood disorder when I was 31. And it didn't make any sense to me because logic told me that if this was genetic, surely I would have some sort of symptoms before the age of 31. Surely I would have been experiencing the impact of this since birth if this was genetic. And the more I questioned this, I was guided to Dr. Bruce Lipton's work around epigenetics. And this made so much more sense to me. So, like, we have coding for all different sorts of things. But what triggers a sequence of DNA to start running and to play out is actually how we think and feel about our environment, you know? And I'm a curious person. So, for me, I think it's one thing for like a geneticist like Dr. Bruce Lipton to tell me what my cells are doing, but I want to verify this stuff for myself, you know. I don't know if anyone else is like that. I just want to verify lots of different things. Um, so I decided that I would go and explore my defective chromosome that I was told that I had, and see how true this was for myself, see how true epigenetics really was. And I'm not going to get into how I went about doing this because that's not really relevant. But what I discovered absolutely blew me away. And it turns out, right, that I had related to the feelings of my ancestors ever so slightly when I was in this challenging situation at work. And at the time, I had this really challenging boss, and I hated going to work. I just didn't want to be there. And at the time, I was so miserable. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I felt like I had no one to talk to about this, you know. And I felt like no one really cared either. You know, no one cared what I was going through. And the most support I got from my family at the time was that I was clever and that I would work it out. Like, that was it. And I just felt so isolated, you know, like, well, I can't figure this out because I'm trying to figure this out and I don't know what to do. It was just really, really miserable time in my life. And but in that situation, I triggered on really extreme emotions, like extreme feelings about my environment. And that program of my blood disorder triggered as a result of that. And that program started to run where my blood clots 10 times more than the average person, you know. And that experience taught me that, yeah, you know what, epigenetics is 100% absolutely true. Like, that is on the money. So, like, I can clear all the reasons why I thought that. And I haven't had any, I've been okay. Like, I haven't had any symptoms for going on a decade. How awesome is that? So, but like, that takes a lot of work to do this sort of stuff. So, but after exploring my chromosomes, you know, and coming to like noticing what I noticed, I did some more research and I found there've been a lot of experiments done actually on this type of thing, and experiments about what's passed on generationally um, in trauma responses. And research shows that trauma responses passed down through generations is very, very real. And there have been experiments done on rats, and not nice. experiments, but they did these experiments on rats where they electrocuted rats while playing a sound. And then they bred those rats, and the next generation of rats were played the music only or the sound only, but they reacted the exact same way as if they were given an electric shock. And this reaction is just amazing, right? So just as the rats react as if they're given an electric shock by hearing a sound, the cells in our body respond to how we feel and perceive the world. And this causes reaction to start in the cells of our bodies. And it can lead to physical symptoms like I experienced the genetic blood disorder. So unless you touch on a trigger and relate to experiences of your ancestors, the thoughts and the feelings, in some way, could be ever so slightly, in some way, that programming is not even going to run. So with the rats, if you never played that sound for them, they would never behave as if they'd been given an electric shock. So if you cannot relate to the experiences of your ancestors in any way, then you have nothing to worry about. So, and for a start, we don't know what's passed on generation to generation anyway. But really, you don't need to be concerned about it either. You don't need to clear any of that stuff. I want to make that really, really clear. You don't need to go and clear anything that your ancestors went through that's stored in your body. You don't need to go and do that unless it's impacting you and you want to do something about it. Right? So, interestingly, I was part of a participant in a lot of group healing work, and this was heavily focused on ancestral and past life karma that was being cleared across a range of scenarios and perspectives, like going back hundreds and hundreds of years. Things like the persecution imprint for being a witch, generational poverty, illness, the plague, being held captive, torture, death, like really graphic concepts, disembowelment, so heavy. But what was really interesting, right? I'm laughing because of it. I just think it's so ridiculous now. But what I found really interesting was that many people started to experience body symptoms as a result of doing this work. And there are a lot of empaths and highly sensitive people in this group who empathized with some of these scenarios, like being burnt alive. They empathized so deeply with those experiences that they activated the programming of trauma in their cells, and they started to experience physical symptoms. They started to become physically ill. There were things like skin rashes going on, problems with vision. They were the main ones that I kind of listened to. I'm thinking, oh my God, like what a can of worms to open up for people. One person was even facing homelessness as a result of doing this type of deep inner work. But doing this work did not bring any of them closer to achieving their dreams, closer to achieving their goals. They were in a situation where they had to clear the trauma of their ancestors to return to wellness, you know? But if they didn't relate to those emotions and feelings initially, those rashes, the vision problems, and those horrible experiences wouldn't have been triggered in the first place, you know? So I want to make this really, really clear. You don't have to clear every block of your ancestors to live a happy life. You don't need to clear their emotional baggage to live a happy life. You don't need to clear all the limiting beliefs your ancestors had to have a happy life. You couldn't even do that if you tried. You just could not do it. There's too much to tackle, and most of it is not even relevant to you in this lifetime. So stay in your own lane. Resolve what is relevant to you if it's blocking something you want to achieve for yourself. So like with me, yeah, I had, this genetic blood disorder that showed up out of nowhere, 30 years into my life. I'm like, well, what is this? No, thank you. And so good, so far so good. But deal with it if and when it comes up. If it never comes up, don't even worry about it. The key to living an amazing life is for you to create it. Your ancestors lived their lives and it's your turn. Like, you've got to live your life. Stand in your power and focus on creating your reality in a way that you really want to, and manifest, like, seriously, stay in your own lane and just manifest the fuck out of what you want in this lifetime, and just go and do it and manifest a life that you really want to have for yourself. Hopefully, you are feeling liberated from feeling like you have to do mountains of inner work to achieve your goals by now. Um, so, let me ask you this. Do you feel like you can throw away 3 of the inner work hoops that you have to jump through to achieve your goals? Um, can you get rid of those? If you can, fantastic. Because today we've covered why clearing common limiting beliefs can have absolutely no relevance to you and what you want to achieve for yourself. So do yourself a favor and save yourself a whole bunch of time and money on those types of programs, and just drill into the specifics of anything that is potentially in your way, anything relevant to you that is stopping and blocking your dreams from coming to fruition. Focus on those. And there's that exercise I took you through. Apply that to multiple goals that you might have. Do it as often as you need to so that you can identify specific limiting beliefs, heavy emotions, negative thought forms that you're having that are standing in your way, and then do something about that. Easy. And then karma. We spoke about karma and how you can stop creating a self-punishing paradigm for yourself. And if you want to, start leveraging like the skills and the strengths of your past lives so that you can add a little bit more enjoyment to your life. That's always nice. And then the big bombshell of ancestral karma, your family lineage, and why poking around at this type of karma, and what blocks and traumas and emotions and all sorts of things, why poking around with that can actually be hazardous to your health and create more problems in your life rather than help you achieve anything. So hopefully you've really enjoyed all of that. And because really, like, if it was a requirement of you to do all of that type of inner work, you'd be set up to fail from the start. And the truth is, our life is not like that. We are not set up to fail. The odds are not stacked against us in any way, shape, or form. And just like I had the ability to think about things as a 17-year-old and watch them unfold, I had all of my limiting beliefs, my family karma, karmic imprints from past lives, you name it, everything was in place and it still happened. I'm not magical in any way. Like, it's just a function of who you are as a person. You can do that too. So if you choose to clear more of those blocks, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do that deeper soul level work, it's completely different kettle of fish altogether. It has nothing to do with achieving your goals necessarily. And I've noticed, right, like when people change their mind about these concepts, they suddenly feel more expansive. They feel like this weight has been lifted, like they've been given the keys to freedom to think outside of this self-help matrix and just get on with, creating and focusing on the life that they really want to achieve for themselves. And that's the best. So I would personally, I would love to chat with you about what that looks like for you, how you're going to go about achieving success. And I actually have, it's a free 90-minute success strategy session. It's not a sales call, it's a 90-minute coaching session with me, valued at $333. Um, that I'm offering for free. I don't know for how long, but I'm offering these for free. to help you get really clear on what's in your way. So in this session, we talk about your goals. We talk about the biggest obstacles. I'm intuitive. You call me psychic if you want to, but you get some intuitive insight into your biggest blocks, the ones that are really blocking your success. And then you get given we talk about like a plan for you, what that plan looks like to help you reach the finish line. And if you want to go away and implement that plan on your own, you're more than welcome to. It's your plan. Do what you like with it. But if you want to collaborate on that and work with me to get you over the finish line, then I would love that too. We can certainly talk about what that would look like. Anything's possible. But if not, that's okay too. We can still be friends, that's no problem. So you're going to find a link to book that success strategy session with me in the comments section. And if you're a bit hesitant to do that because you're only meeting me for the first time today, that's okay. I get it. Go and grab your copy of 100 Times Your Success Manifesto. And this is going to help you bring your goals alive, you don't have to do a ton of inner work or learn new manifestation techniques to do this. You already have your own box of tricks and things that works well for you. Fantastic. This is going to help you 100 times your success. So you don't need to be fixed. There's nothing you need to fix about yourself to experience the life that you want to live. Go and grab a copy of 100 Times Your Success Manifesto. And this is going to help accelerate you achieving your goals and dreams faster for the year ahead. And you know what? Defining and building out what you want 2025 to look like is going to set you up for repeatable success in all areas of your life. It's a really cool little process that you'll go through in that manifesto. And then you can just retire me and every other coach in your life because you don't need to be helped anymore. And then you just get on with creating your world your way and having the most amazing life that you want to have for yourself. And, I think that's where it's at. Like, I think that's like so magical for so many people to achieve. But imagine what you're capable of when you put your energy into your goals and the outcomes you want to see. Imagine what's going to happen when the energy that you used to put in doing all of this inner work, you're now putting in the goals that you want to see for yourself. What is going to happen? I already know what's going to happen. It's amazing. Go and do it. There's only one way to find out, really. Go and download your copy of 100 Times Your Success. I know what's ahead of you. Go and download it and send me an email about all the cool stuff that starts unfolding for you too. Because this year, 2025, this new year is your blank canvas. And if you've kind of started down that path already and you think the wheels have fallen off your goals already because life gets in the way and everything else, do something about it. Don't accept that. I don't accept that on your behalf. You have a blank canvas. Go and paint it with whatever you want to create for yourself instead. And you already have absolutely everything you need to succeed. So I'm wishing you the best. Have an amazing 2025. I'm excited about this year. I know some amazing people are coming into my life. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Ciao. Thank you for joining me on Unmasking the Magic. Today's journey has been a glimpse into the power of blending the mystical with the material world. And there is so much more to dive into so that you can explore your own metaphysical gifts to create unparalleled success and fulfillment in your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love to hear from you. And please share this with anyone you know who will benefit from adding a little magic to their own life. Keep unmasking your magic, and I'll see you next time.